Welcome to Pot of Thunder, the recognized symbol of excellence in rock and roll podcasting, brought to you by Blue Microphones. They look great. They sound even better. You know my voice.
Here's my buddy Andy.
Oh, that's right. It's your buddy Andy, America's little brother. As always, I'm joined by the one, the only, the Garlic Dragon. Bam! Bam! There he is, Nick. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yes. And over there, directly next to Nick, that's right. Nick, could you go outside and make sure that roof is on tight? Get on the ladder that we keep out there. Permanently installed ladder.
I'll be back.
All right, he's back. Up. The roof's on tight. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the breakout star of the podcast medium, Chris L.
I think we need a gunslinger. Somebody tough.
That's
to
it.
tame this town.
We got him.
I think we need a gunslinger. There'll be just...
Succumb to my power, my age, and my weight. That's it.
I still can't figure out what that means.
Not necessarily in that order, but just do it.
And, you know, it's been a tough last couple months, right, for everybody? We've been down in the dumps, have we not?
Literally.
Yeah,
Just a few mile away from here.
Well, you may have heard a familiar voice. That's right, he's back. We need something to bring you up.
Get down in the dumps and you need something to bring you.
That's right. Put your hands together for Chris Jericho. He's back. Welcome back, buddy.
Begin the show with a friendly voice, a companion unobtrusive.
Who else would use the word unobtrusive in a lyric, Chris L., other than Neil Peart?
I can't think of any offhand. The only other person I can think of is Bushwick Bill.
Yeah.
Or someone in the Ghetto Boys, because they use the word scrotum. So that's kind of on the same level. I think that was another line from an Ayn Rand book, while she suck my dick and lick my scrotum. Possibly Atlas Shrugged, I don't know. I can't remember.
That was in the director's cut of the one Ayn Rand book, Fountains, I think it was called. Fountains X Rated.
Yes.
Was the one that we're talking about.
Yeah, I skipped that summer reading assignment.
It's great to be back with you guys. It's been a while, and happy to be here as we continue to navigate through these strange waters known as 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Welcome back. This is that's good. I'm just gonna take a step back and let you continue. You've got it all figured out. You're so smooth.
I'm always the interviewer, so I got to step back and be the interviewee and let ALB do his job. I will say this before we continue. This is one of the few times that I have no idea what we're going to be talking about today, or what song we're going to be analyzing, or whatever. So even though the people at home know because they saw the headline, I'm the one guy who's in the dark, and I ain't talking about Billy Squier, because if it was Billy Squier, Ted Irvin would be here talking about it.
That's right.
Well, actually, the Jones Brothers are in the dark, too, at this moment.
That's right.
So, because it's my pick.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like that scene in Psycho, but the Jones Brothers and Chris J are in the shower, and Chris L is out there with a knife.
The thing is, though, you can say my last name, because people know my last name is Jericho. We still don't know the official last name of Chris L.
Yeah.
He's a spy.
I don't even know.
It changes.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
I actually heard that Chris L hails from Wuhan, China, and might be behind this whole thing.
It could be. Stranger things have happened. He's a little suspect. I don't know.
I had a booth at the wet market over there, and a bunch of bats on a spit, and I might be responsible. I don't know.
This is a true story. So back in the 10,000 years ago, aka January of 2020, when I did the last show at the Tokyo Dome, I took my son Ash with me, and we were in Japan. His first time there, 16 years old. He wanted to go to a fish market. Well, a fish market, aka in Japan, anywhere in Asia, is a wet market. So we were hanging out in the wet markets of Tokyo mere months before the whole Rona hit. So we were seeing these things like, who is buying this? There's a live shelled turtle. Like they rip a turtle shell off, and then here's the little guy, like the little Gumby guy. It's live. Who wants it? I'll take this one. It's like something out of Star Wars.
They rip the shell off when it's alive?
I think so. I don't remember. I could be
okay.
exaggerating, but there's a lot of gross looking stuff.
Yeah.
See, this is how racial stereotypes become a thing. I don't know if that's true. I might be just making it up, but they rip the shells.
What I'm saying, they are real. Wet markets are real.
Oh,
People are walking around taking basically whatever fish du jour was available and putting it into their to their bucket or whatever they're putting it into and going and buying it. So this is a real thing.
Wet markets and their pornography, proof that Asians are next level. Just on a whole other dimension than the rest of the world.
Next level. Huh?
Yeah. Don't get me started on that, man. I could tell you, I've been to Japan 60 times, Chris, as you know. I've got a lot of stories about Asian pornography. But that's a whole other podcast. That's the porn of thunder, not pot of thunder.
Yeah, you could talk for millennia about Asian porn. The very definition of bacchanalia.
There it is.
Are you leading us down a path? Are we doing another loudness song today? Is that
We are not. No.
Seeds? Okay.
No, we are not. Should we get into it? Or?
Sure.
It's probably a good idea because this actually is a somewhat lengthy song.
Is it a Dream Theater song?
It is not. We're not going down that road. What was that 28-minute one that we rejected?
Octavarium.
Octavarium.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I was a huge Dream Theater fan from about 1992 to about 2005 or 6, and now here's your blabbermouth headline. Now I can hardly even listen to them anymore. I grew into it. I was obsessed with it, and then I grew out of it to where there was a time when I would say, "What do you want to listen to?" Let's put on some Octavarium.
Okay, but not anymore.
And now I would never want to hear that song again.
So it's not that you don't like the material after 05. You don't even want to listen to the material that you were once into anymore.
I just grew out of it, man.
Yeah.
It's like listening to Keel or something. At one point in my life, Keel was awesome. Keel's awesome, and then now you're like, yeah.
What was my line about Keel?
Gene song.
If you're named after a part of a ship, reevaluate. Fix that.
But here's the problem. If it was called Keel Hall, that's much more heavy metal. Just Keel?
Exactly. I guess the order of it makes sense, but or makes a difference. But in general, change your name if you're named after a part of a ship. That's just kind of a general rule of life. Fix it.
Well, there goes my side project, Poop Deck.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
I think that's a title of an Asian porn film, as a matter of fact.
I've seen that one.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Poop Deck 5 is the best of the series.
Yes.
It really climaxed at 5.
Electric Poopaloo is the name of it.
No pun intended. It climaxed at 5. That's what you did there.
Yeah, they got a new director after 5. It's not the same.
Yeah. Yeah, they started rehashing old ideas and, became like another Spider-Man franchise.
You know what's really
exactly.
The most offensive thing to me was when they went back and they re-edited Poop Deck 2. And they changed the poop digitally.
Yeah.
That's what are they doing? He shit first? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth, right?
Yeah, you can't-
Greedo shit first in Poop Deck 5.
Yeah.
You can't fool us, Poop Deck completists. We know what you've changed about it, and we're not happy.
Yeah. Listeners at home, did you ever think when you saw this song on the marquee that the conversation would go down this road? I would say that you probably did not.
Especially this song, as you guys will soon understand.
What is it? I'm excited.
So here in our recent, since we're on season 2 and we're not restricted to only Kiss, we're covering the entire rock landscape. Mm-hmm. We've kind of felt the need to sort of pay homage to iconic rockers who have passed away recently. Last week, Nick kind of did a subtle tribute to Frankie Banali by picking a Slade song.
Yeah, interesting.
This week, it's long overdue. Pete Way of UFO. Got to pay some tribute. And interestingly enough, this kind of pushed my decision to do this over the cliff. How many songs are on the listener submission list, roughly? 2,500?
Yeah,
maybe?
2,500 is probably about right.
2,500. That's amazing.
There is one UFO song on there, and it happens to be my favorite.
Oh, this is it.
This is my favorite UFO song. I'm only familiar with the live Strangers in the Night version. Today we will consider the studio version. So without further ado...
before we get into it, let me give you a quick little UFO story. So UFO, for me, was a little bit before my time. Like Eddie Trunk, for example, loves UFO, and I think he's your age, Chris, 53, 52, 53. So there was this 2 or 3 year period where, like, I also was never a fan of the Uli John Roth Scorpions period, which also fell into this area. So long story short, I did a thing with a bunch of the Florida death metal guys, which was all huge in Tampa in the 80s, and they were doing a couple cover songs, and one of them was Hot and Ready by UFO. And I was driving to my friend Ed's house to track the vocals. I had never heard the song before in my life. So I listened to it as I went to the studio, laid it down, turned out great. Look up Hot and Ready by Blood Divisions was the band. And that could be the only UFO song that I know besides Lights Out in London. Two. So there you go. I don't know if this might be one of them, one of those two. I'm not sure.
It could be.
It is not, and I'm also not. We'll get into it as we get into the discussion. But I'm kind of. I grew up in Detroit. UFO was never on the radio in Detroit, yet here in Chicago they are worshipped and constantly played. I knew of UFO and Shanker through the Guitar Nerd magazines, and then of course all the justifiable praise for Strangers of the Night. I acquired that album, enjoy it very much. I'm ready when you are. If you got the proper.
Are you hot? Are you hot and ready, Chris?
I was just going to mention that my favorite version of Hot and Ready was recorded recently live at the Little Caesars Arena.
That's their slogan.
Yeah,
you got to pay the bills, guys.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm ready.
All right.
Ready for you.
Here we go. Let's turn the microphone over to a previously recorded Chris Jericho.
All right, Harold. This one's called
Love to Love.
Off of
Lights Out.
by the band
Unidentified Flying Object, a.k.a. UFO.
Okay.
Did you say unidentified frying object? I think you had a little.
Oh boy!
I stumbled on that one. I was all geared up to say the full name, and I just totally blew it. So
I'm the only one that can call you out on it, though, because the Jones brothers are terrified of you.
That's right.
After 6 years of your tyranny,
we're in the room with him. You don't call him out when you're in the room with him.
That'd be the fact that 2 of the 4 of us are in the same room. That's progression.
Yeah, I'm here
Last
too.
time everyone was in our own rooms.
I'm here too. We're just on different cameras.
Well, see, now you outsmarted me on that one.
Yeah.
Are you sending me a text, Chris, or what?
No, I'm realizing that the punter of the Michigan State Spartans football team, when I went to college, has passed away at age 55.
Oh. Did he put out any singles?
He did not, but he put a screaming slap shot into my chest during an intramural hockey game at Mon Ice Arena when you weren't supposed to do that. The rule was no wind-ups over the chest, over the hip area. Mm-hmm. I'm playing goal. He's coming up the right wing. He one stride over the blue line. He points his stick to the roof of the arena and blasts one right into my solar plexus. And today, minutes ago, he has passed away.
Wow, that's a bummer.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Now, let me ask you this. First of all, what was his name?
Greg Montgomery was his name.
I think we should. It's only apropos that we dedicate this episode to Greg Montgomery.
Yeah.
But did we not do a show a few months ago where another one of your friends had passed away? What was the song that we did with your other friend that had passed away?
That was the Rico Suave episode.
Right, because he was a fan of that.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Well, not really, but he was a fan of hedonism, so it kind of, kind of worked out.
He was a fan of Bacchanalia.
He was, yes.
All right.
So, This, in my estimation, is the best power ballad of all time.
Okay.
Come out of the gate making a strong statement about
But
that.
isn't this kind of an uptown? I love to love you. What's it called? Love to love you?
Love to love.
Oh, it's not love to love you. Okay.
No.
I don't
I
think
mean,
I know
that's the
those.
lyric, but that's not the title of the song.
I can
All right.
guarantee that I've never heard it.
Yeah, I don't think I know a Monkees song called "Love to Love," but I don't know a UFO song.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, I wouldn't say this is especially up-tempo. There's a lot of nice composition here, and like I said, in my estimation, the greatest power ballad of all time.
And what
See,
year
I
was this
like this.
album?
This is the equivalent to when when you guys would do a Peter Criss solo album on the original season 1 of Pod of Thunder. You'd never heard the song, had no idea to expect. I have zero knowledge of this song.
Really?
Which automatically makes me hate it because I always like knowing what's going on. But I'm going to listen to it with an open mind and with open legs and see where it takes me.
Are you in general a fan of power ballads?
No, I was never a fan of the ballads on the record. They're all growers for me, not showers.
Okay.
For example,
Like
Nothing
that.
Else Matters, when it first came out in 91 on the Black Album, I was laughing. This is the fucking worst piece of shit I've ever heard in my life. Like literally like heavy metal is the law. And I hated it. And now... okay, I get it. It's a great song, great solo, great stuff. At the time, like, I don't have time for power ballads. No chicks will talk to me. I've never seen a boob in my life. So why am I going to try and listen to this schmaltz?
Yeah, I get that.
You know?
I get that. I think a lot of that type of music does grow on you. I'm with you on that. Any kind of tender music.
Well, let me
That's something I totally hated until at least my 30s.
Well, let me say that the reason why I like this one so much is it's not like your schmaltzy pandering power ballad along the lines of the other Schenker joint we've done on this show, Anytime.
Oh, yeah.
That Macaulay Schenker group piece of garbage. This is not of
What are you
that
talking
ilk.
about? That's a great tune.
It's
I love
terrible.
that tune.
See, I don't get you.
Because it
You
was on the
just-
radio. That's why. I heard it on the radio. I knew it.
So you knew it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is, to me, is what a power ballad should be. Heavy on the
Quick
power.
little segue before we start very quickly. I love how it was the Michael Schenker group, and then he had to go find a lead singer, but he had to find a lead singer with the last name that began with an M.
Right.
If it was like Robin Schwartz, it'd have to be the SG.
That wouldn't work. He'd
Wouldn't
have
work.
to legally change his name.
I think his name actually was Robin Schwartz, and he changed it to McCulley just to fit the spirit of the thing.
One of the few Irish Schwartzes.
Yeah, I think another guy who was in the running for that gig was Jack Moseworthy. How he didn't get hired, I have no idea. But
I thought for sure that Kevin Mubro was going to get the gig. He would have been perfect for it.
Joe Lynn Murner was in the running as well.
We could go all night, guys.
Yeah, we could. Chris Marico, I think,
Ron
was
Meal
actually
was available after the Right to Rock tour fell apart. Meal was awesome. Call back.
So this is, track 8. This is from 1977. I know Nick asked a minute ago.
So this
1977.
is the closing cut on the Lights Out album, correct?
That's what it looks like.
That's what it appears to be.
Yeah. It's a little lengthy, but again, it's my favorite UFO song.
7 minutes.
We've gone down this road before.
We have.
Cemetery Gate.
Oh, it's 7 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Strap in.
Right.
Order a pizza. We're going to be here. All right. 7
fall-
I
minutes.
got
Don't
an
fall
open attitude.
asleep,
I'm ready.
Jared.
I'm looking at this with the glasses half full. I'm excited to hear this great ballad for 7 minutes.
Well, you don't dislike UFO. You're just not super familiar with them, right?
So here's Eddie Trunk and I have a thing. He actually bought me a shirt when I did that metal show once. They said Halloween is my UFO. It's kind of an obscure band unless you're into them, in which case there's a huge fan base that knows everything they do. So
Right.
I do not know UFO.
Okay.
Halloween is my UFO. So this like I said, I know 3 or 4 songs. this is my first experience with this.
Yeah. Well, Michael Schenker is a god. You understand that, right?
I do, but once again, only because what I've heard from my peers that are a few years older. Because if you think about when I discovered Scorpions was 82 Blackout, Matthias was already in the band. I didn't know anything about Michael Schenker until Any Time came on the radio because it was a current song. Mm-hmm. But then when you talk to Hetfield or Kirk Hammett or any of the guys that were 5, 6, 7 years older, Michael Schenker is God. And I get that, but I've never felt it myself. So here's my chance to appreciate that.
Yeah, well, again, this is not his, pedal to the metal, full-on rocking side, but this is a more high-quality look at his more sensitive side than that turd Anytime. So,
but let's just say one more thing too. This year has been terrible for UFO because I think they've lost 3 members or former members, correct?
Paul Raymond, the keyboardist, second guitarist, and then Pete Way, and possibly.
And they also, the other cat that used to be in Wasted, Paul, they called him Tonka. I'll find it. He was in Wasted, but he was in UFO. He was a red ass. He had red hair.
I think his name was
Red Ass.
I think his name was Paul Stead. So Wasted.
That's pretty good.
No joke. His name is actually Paul Chapman.
Oh,
he
yeah,
was in UFO for a period of time as well. And
he was one of the. He succeeded Michael Schenker on guitar, which is not an easy slot to fill.
So if you're Phil Moog, this is a terrible year. You lost 3 former bandmates, and obviously, it was the first cat. Paul Raymond was the lukewarm water of the band,
exactly.
And then losing Pete Way, who was kind of the marquee guy, with the exception of Michael Schenker.
Yeah.
And then Paul Chapman as well. So,
Paul Way. I'm sounding like Nick here with what was the
Simon Birch.
Simon Birch. He called Martin Birch Simon a couple episodes ago. But Pete
maybe
Way.
That's why he hasn't said anything this episode. He's embarrassed still.
Andy edited it out, right?
Yep.
Okay, good.
I mean,
no, he didn't.
For
always do. I got your back, Nick.
For guitar players, Jimmy Page with the Les Paul slung down to his knees is the iconic. It's almost like the Jordan silhouette for athletes. For guitar players, it's Jimmy Page with the Les Paul down by his knees. For bass players, it's Pete Way with the Thunderbird bass down by his knees. Everybody from Nikki Sixx to Todd Dammit Kearns will probably acknowledge that they took their visual cues from Pete Way. He's an iconic guy.
Interesting. And that's why you brought up Kearnsy earlier today. And also, hey, listen, props to those guys, but the number 1 Pete Way fan in the world is Steve Harris.
Well, there you
Steve
have
Harris
it.
bases his whole shtick off of Pete Way, and to the point where on the summer tour, I said open for Iron Maiden specifically because of that.
Well, see, there you go.
Yep.
So that's why he deserves the recognition, the posthumous recognition, and
Yes.
And like I said, coincidentally, the only UFO song on the list contributed by Tony Griggs, a relatively new listener, so that's cool. And it happens to be my favorite. And I've never heard the studio version before, so I think we're all in for a little bit of a new discovery here.
Did Tony Griggs say anything about this song on the list?
I didn't scroll that far over to the right. Maybe if you can...
I'll dig it up.
Bothered.
Yeah. I'm a busy man, okay? I don't have time to scroll one cell over to the right.
We need to work on those column widths.
Yeah. I don't have... If it's not on my screen, I'm not scrolling right. I just simply don't have the time for that.
Here we go. Tony says, glad to be a part of this with 3 exclamations. So here you go. Thank you, Tony.
And on a Jericho episode, no less. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, well.
I'm excited. Thank you.
You dudes ready?
Yeah, man.
Yes, here we go.
Well,
excited.
Well, it's too bad. You're getting a commercial.
Oh, what are you, Ryan Seacrest?
Is that what he does that on American Idol, doesn't he?
He used to 10 years ago when I watched.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since season 2. Big Clay Aiken fan. All right, here we go. I know everyone. There was a period where
you kind of look like him.
I know.
That's why I think
people. I got stopped 2 times in like a 1 month period by different groups. Like, oh my God, are you Clay Aiken? I'm like, yeah, I'm at the Euro place in Calumet City. I'm Clay Aiken. The hell am I doing here?
There's one important difference between those two, which should just immediately, eliminate these comparisons. Andy is a top, so
there you go.
That is
at least you gave me that much.
Yeah, well, it's true.
Thank you.
From what I hear,
yeah.
And that's really it. That's the line of demarcation there.
Yeah. Okay, we're back, and here we go. Stop. A gong right off the bat.
That's a new record.
Is that real?
Yeah, that was the open is a gong. I didn't expect that.
Are you kidding me?
No, that was it.
Was that real?
That was it.
Yeah, you can start it over so you can hear it and then let
that
it
gets
through.
15,000 bonus points for
See?
opening the song with a gong. There's none more metal than a fucking gong. I love this song already.
Thank you. Exactly. Now, I'm wondering if, because it seemed to start a little abruptly, I'm wondering if it's a fade in from the previous song somehow. You don't have to investigate. I'm just curious. But yes, I mean, starts off on the highest note possible. And
start again with the gong, and then we'll go into it because I want to hear that again.
Okay, here we go.
They're letting it ring too. Don't step on the gong.
Is this the soundtrack to Big Trouble in Little China?
This is the music that's playing when they get the gremlin in that one guy's shop.
Now listen how the bass is Pete Way at his finest. Atmospheric bass playing.
Quick stop for me.
Yep.
So when Chris L was saying this is the best ballad ever, I was expecting like some kind of Stairway to Heaven or Nothing Else Matters. This is pretty fucking heavy. Like that's
the power.
Not
power
sounding ballad. It's just sounding like, bow, and that keyboard in there kind of sounds a little bit. What does it sound like? Like Halloween.
Like Halloween, a little bit.
Yeah,
it's haunting.
Bit, yeah.
Right, atmospheric.
It's like The Exorcist.
Trust me, the ballad part kicks in eventually. This is the power section. That's why it's the best.
Kind of progressive, that time signature, or at least the drum beat.
This sounds like so much like something off Killers from Iron Maiden. It's take away the keyboard and put like an acoustic or something. It's so Iron Maiden. And you said this is 77, Chris?
Yeah.
This is the template of this is what Steve Harris was listening to going,
there you go.
This is what my band is going to sound like, but with no keyboards and a second guitar.
There you have it.
Great.
See, half the time when there are these quote-unquote progressive time signatures, I wonder if the drummer just simply missed a beat and then just kept going. And they're like, we're going to leave that in. Suddenly, this is a 1612 time signature, and it sounds really progressive, man. Let's leave it in. Any thoughts so far, Nick?
I like it so far. It's I'm curious as to how the vocals are going to come in. Because usually if you have a power ballad and it kicks up like this before the vocals, it reins itself back. And I'm kind of hoping it doesn't, but I'm curious to see anyway.
Yeah, like I said, it's very haunting kind of. It sounds like the soundtrack for an Italian horror movie where there's a lot of atmosphere, but it's also very heavy. And that might be super obscure, but if anybody's a fan of Giallo, any Fulci fans? Anyone? It's got the same vibe to it where it's creepy, but it's a little bit of it's like the band was called Goblin. that would do these type of very intricate, heavy soundtracks for Italian horror movies in the 70s. And 7 people will know what I'm talking about, but I do, and I'm on the fucking show, so whatever.
That's cool. I had no idea. I'm going to look that up, though.
Yeah,
Look up Goblin. Goblin.
I'm actually more into Italian horror movies, and oddly enough, there's also a Italian horror movie called Goblin. It's just
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
You're so my older brother.
I am your older
right.
brother. Just
Goblin the band is Goblin. Goblin the porno movie is Gobbling.
LIN apostrophe to be exact. and just since we've established that I'm your older brother, I just want to remind you again: write me into the will, please. Send me the documents.
Yeah. Only thing is that the administrators are the brothers Jones, so they got to go through them first before you get your ill-boot Gotti.
Forget it. Then. It's not worth it.
A lot of
ill-gotten booty.
A lot of red tape. JBBS law firm.
Yeah, these two are the executors. Yeah, don't even bother. It's not worth the effort.
It'd be like the opening scene in an Italian horror film where they read the will.
Or at the beginning of Easy Money, one of the two.
Hey, can't eat all my home fries, Chris. You need some of my home fries?
Home fries. What are my home fries?
As another quick segue, do you guys know that the whole chorus of I'm the Man by Anthrax is from Easy Money, right?
I did not know that.
I didn't.
Remember remember the dude who delivered pizza in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, who was her... So he's outside the window, and he's going, I'm bad. I'm so bad. I should be in detention. I'm the man. Go back and watch it. That's exactly what they got.
I did not know that. I have a new respect for that song.
It took me years to realize that the guitar progression, the main guitar riff was Hava Nagila. That escaped me for years. Yeah.
Does this kind of have a little bit of... Remember when Pete Townsend went solo and he was doing Rough Boys, and there's a couple other tunes where it was on his own, but this has a real Pete Townsend
I like
feel
that
to
comparison.
it.
Yeah,
like Eminence Front type era. I know that's the Who, but that late 70s, early 80s period where it was heavy but still progressive.
The Empty Glass album is the one I'm referring to, which, by the way, is a 5-star album in my book.
And the other one that I had was All Cowboys Have Chinese Eyes.
All the best cowboys have Chinese eyes. Yes.
And then
does that mean
that he said John Wayne, Charles Bronson, they all have like those eyes like I have right now, like
squinty eyes from all the the sun beating down on their leathery skin. I can get it.
Jeez, was that in Goblin?
That was in the little blurb about the movie.
On the back of the video box. I remember reading that, written by Chris L. It said
exactly. It was
because it was Italian. That was Chris E.L.
It was John Wayne, Charles Bronson, and Greedo San all have the same eyes.
Oh, jeez.
Guitars run down motels like Shaq. I'm getting a very big Phil Lynott vibe off of the way the vocals are being delivered. That. So it's just another piece of the puzzle as to why Chris likes this song so much.
I never made that connection, but I'm hearing it, and probably a subconscious thing. But
and I agree with you, Nick. Now that you pointed it out, it's also got a real new wave of British heavy metal to it, which makes perfect sense. Like when I hear this, once again, keyboards notwithstanding, it reminds me of a Saxon song. It kind of reminds me of an early, this is really obscure for those who know, a really early kind of a Raven type vibe. So I would think, after what you're saying, that they probably took the Phil Lynott influence and also influenced this new wave of British heavy metal, which was Iron Maiden and Raven and Def Leppard and Saxon. UFO seems like they were slotted kind of right in the middle of that, a bridge, 1 foot in the 70s and 1 foot going into the 80s.
What it amounts up to, I don't want it at all. Lost you and I want you today. Misty green and blue. Love you.
I hear a little bit of David Bowie 5 years in the vocal delivery,
There you go.
too.
That's another great comparison. And
Let me do you-
high quality.
Let me do you one more. I hear a little bit of David Coverdale in there as well.
There you go again.
You know,
all the titans of rock are being are getting the nod in this one, and in some cases ahead of them. So it's being kind of passed forward.
when you guys pulled the Ultimate Pot of Thunder and did the original version of Here I Go Again, it's much more in that version. Coverdale's kind of low end. I don't know where I'm going. Like, not the high part, but like kind of the journeyman storyteller era.
Yeah.
It's the first thing I thought when I heard this. That sounds like fucking Coverdale.
Yeah.
Misty green and blue. Love to love you. To be something. To be near you. Don't say that you'll never know. Love to.
This is such a stew of everything that was rock and roll in 1977. Like we mentioned, there's a Thin Lizzy element. There's kind of this prog. It's very Rush at this point. And much to Chris L's chagrin, there's the ELO string section behind it.
There's a little bit of that in there, yes.
You know, it's very much kind of a combination of, if you were in a rock and roll band, sorry, let me rephrase that. If you were in a rock and roll band in 1977, this is kind of a combination of all the changes that were going on from the 60s into the 80s.
Yeah, and the thing, and I saw a clip shortly after he passed away. It must have been online that somebody posted, but it was an interview with Pete Way, and he was saying that we're definitely the swaggering rockers, but we can also show our sensitive side, and that's what's going on here. But it's not in a cheesy, pandering way. I mean, if you were to go a little further with the strings or too much with the vocals, it would cross over into the schmaltz area. But they're right on that line, and it's not cheesy or lame at all. It's really,
but I will say
great.
this: I'm ready for a change now. There needs to be.
It's coming.
Okay.
To love you.
Apologies for stopping it so quickly again, but musically I was trying to think what band it reminds me of, and not the string section, but it's kind of got a Skynyrd feel.
There you go. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Who was hot in 77?
Yeah.
Leonard Skynyrd. Absolutely. Good call. Who, incidentally, too, were huge in England at this time. So there might be a little bit of influence from UFO, from Leonard Skynyrd on UFO. Stop again quickly. What you guys just heard was that was so obvious. That was lead bass. Am I right?
Yeah.
The guitar is playing the ding 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 ding, and he's going. That's classic Steve Harris. completely influenced by what Pete Way is doing on this song.
And
Never heard the song before, but you can totally tell.
And as long as we're trotting out the 70s royalty, who played a lot of lead bass lines in the 70s? Chris Squire, yes. There's a little bit of that going on in here.
Yep.
And listen to all the bands we've rattled off here. That's why the 70s were the best music decade. So much quality music, especially in rock, but across the board. I mean, so much variety, so much iconic stuff, high quality stuff coming out in the 70s.
If you guys are ever on a tour bus and bored, or at your house and bored, there's a great, it was a DVD, I don't even know if it exists in streaming. It's called The Best of the Midnight Special.
Oh, yeah.
You guys remember that show?
I do.
And this is kind of the mid-70s period. It's UFO, it's Hard, it's AC/DC, it's Patti LaBelle, it's Hall & Oates, it's Player, it's Orleans. Every single guy on that stage and girl could play and sing. I don't care if you hate the song "Baby Come Back." All four of those motherfuckers are singing in
Absolutely.
a perfect 4-part harmony. That's why the 70s, as musicians, sweetening and tuning, if you were in a band, you had to be good at your instrument and you had to sing. You would have 8 guys, Doobie Brothers. Watch the Doobie Brothers with Jeff Skunk Baxter. They're all singing. All 19 of them.
Yeah, no, he's
it's
right.
ridiculous. Taking it to the street. Like, that does not exist anymore, and
No.
it'll probably never exist again. You had to be not good. You had to be great at all aspects of being a musician in the 70s.
Absolutely.
Do you ever go on YouTube and go down the rabbit hole of old gray whistle test videos?
Yes.
Yes, the same deal.
Yes.
Don
My favorite
Kirshner's-
is the Police on that when
Yes.
they're like playing a college recreation hall or something. It's amazing.
It's great.
Don Kirshner's rock concert
Yeah.
was another
Yes.
one of those shows. And those were on, every week, multiple versions. Great stuff.
Yeah.
The 70s were great.
Great. Rich Ward of my partner in Fozzy is a component of the 70s, was the best ever for that reason.
Yeah. And there were also all the variety shows. It seems like live music was a really big part of entertainment in the 70s,
Yeah.
regardless of the style, just in general. Live performances on TV.
Yeah, and the thing with Grey Whistle Test and with Midnight Special, it was not like solid gold. Years later, you can see Kiss perform The Oath on Fridays, and it's a total lip sync.
Yeah.
Those shows were not lip sync; they were live, and you could tell because they would end the way you're supposed to end. They would never make mistakes vocally, but there'd be little pops and hitches, and you could tell like this is really live.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it great. I'll tell you what: if you guys ever watch it, Edgar Winter Band Frankenstein is the fucking best live TV performance I've ever seen. They're all on LSD to the yin yang, and they know it, and they don't care. It is unbelievable. So great.
And which show is that from?
The Best of the Midnight Special.
Midnight Special. Okay. We'll look that up. Let's continue.
Look it up.
We're like half
Look
here.
it up!
It's been a while since we've done that.
Here comes the after the lead bass. Here comes Shanker stepping forward to take over. You want to talk about Nothing Else Matters? You can't tell me Hammett wasn't channeling Shanker on that with this.
Chris, not to sound like jumping on your back on this, but the first 3 notes, I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
That was Kirk Hammett.
It's
I
nod
get
to
it.
Shanker, And
Yep, I get it.
Shanker, another band that had feet in the 70s and the 80s is Van Halen.
Yep.
I think of Van Halen as a 70s band, whereas most people, because of their influence on the 80s, think they're an 80s band. Shanker,
70s.
Yeah, Shanker is regarded as the European Eddie Van Halen, just for those face melting, ripping solos, which he did in all their rock stuff. But here, brilliant phrasing, laid back.
But here's the thing, too. I think that late 70s, early 80s till now, rock guitar was defined by two. Eddie Van Halen, obviously, and Randy Rhoads. They were both different styles rooted in the same place. Both of them have Schenker influences. There's no doubt. You can just hear it in 3 notes in that. Maybe not so much. I mean, sure, there's Eddie, but this is very Randy Rhoads. It's very fucking Randy Rhoads.
How does the resident Randy Rhoads fanboy feel about that?
I'd have to, I'd have to listen to more UFO stuff. I mean, I know Lights Out. I know Too Hot.
That's cool in the gang, Nick.
Schenker was in that too. Schenker played with everybody, right? I mean, he almost played with Ozzy at one point.
It was actually the one album that came out, Shankar and the Gang, in 70.
Earth, Wind, and Schenker was a.
But Nick, let me ask you a question. How old are you?
40.
So you are probably like, I'm almost 50 now, believe it or not, and Andy's like 12, and Chris is 55 or whatever you are. Do you agree with me that Michael Shankar, and I'm on the cusp of it, but I'm more on your side of the fence, was not critically acclaimed as a guitar hero the same way that Eddie was, or Randy, or George Lynch, or somebody out there?
Yeah, not during that era. No. I mean,
but even now at this point in time,
yeah, somehow he just it just never. He didn't have that crossover appeal like all those other. Bands did or guitarists did, but I mean, he's a giant.
I mean, he's a guitar hero, but yeah, like on that level, like neither was really Gary Moore. I mean, he's highly acclaimed, obviously, but he wasn't talked about as much.
If you were a teenager in 1977 or 79 or 81, 82, I became a teenager in 83. That's when you resonate with these players. So to me, at let's say 83 earlier, I did not know, Shankar, or I use Uli Jean Roth a lot too, because people talk about him as well. I'm like, I don't get it. Have you ever listened to Tokyo Tapes? No, why not? Because I started at Blackout. I don't care. So you know what I mean? Like, It's just, I think as we get older, you have only so many brain cells in your head that can contain all the music that we love, and maybe this much for new music.
Yeah.
So it's you go back 40 years to find your new music when you're trying to listen to something new now.
Well, and the other thing about that time frame you just mentioned, one of the reasons you probably got into Blackout was because the video for No One Like You was on MTV. Yes. You never saw UFO on MTV. Never. I don't remember ever seeing them on MTV.
And because we did see the Scorps, like I always thought Matthias Jabs, as we called him in Winnipeg, Matthias Jabs. But Matthias Jabs, he looked cool. He looked young. He looked fucking. He was ripped. He had biceps, black and yellow spandex. So
he didn't have a mustache.
Michael Schenker is better than Matthias Jabs. I'm like, bullshit. Matthias Jabs looks cool as fuck, man.
Yeah. Oh, and he's also another one. Great tone and great phrasing and leads. Incredible guitar player.
Unbelievable, and also super underrated. I find Steve Austin and I talk about the Scorpions as a band, but all the individual players super underrated overall.
You're right.
Completely.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But Schenker was a god, is a god. But it was very regional, like I said. In Detroit, never, not once did I hear UFO on rock radio on any of the 4 major stations. Here in Chicago, everybody loved. They were constantly on WLS. The Loop, whatever. They're worshipped here in Chicago. Not known at all in Detroit.
Because Chicago's a great rock and roll town, but it would seem Detroit's probably a little bit of a bigger rock and roll town, but they never connected with UFO.
It's very strange how that works.
Talk about dynamics that I wish were the type of stuff we would hear in modern recorded music, because we don't get dynamics like this anymore, where it really has an impact when something big and heavy comes crushing in like that.
Yeah. And once again, there's tempo changes and the dynamics of the heaviness of it. But, I'm a broken record at this point. It's so early Iron Maiden, it's almost ridiculous. Like, I never even realized it, maybe heard about it, but this is so fucking Iron Maiden.
Yeah, yeah, and just the arrangement, how they're circling back to what they did at the beginning of the song.
Yeah, it's like Ides of March and the Killer's title cut.
Yeah, or like
together.
you Remember Tomorrow Strange World, or it's just giving me that vibe. It's not necessarily sounding like a Maiden song, but the vibe of it is so Maiden. And then now, like I've had Steve Harris on Talk Is Jericho, and now after listening to this, I would like to have him on again just to discuss Steve Harris on UFO. I bet you could talk about UFO for 2 hours. That's the next topic if we ever.
Yeah, and the fact that it that vibe came through in their music is, to me, the ultimate form of respect.
Sure, it is.
They're doing their own thing, but you can hear where the influence came from. Wearing it on their sleeve, but doing their own thing with it is the ultimate, tip of the hat, and paying tribute to the guys who inspired and influenced them.
It's really good. As soon as we're done this show, I want to go back and listen to it in its entirety without having it stopped from time to time.
Yeah.
Because I want to kind of experience the whole, like when I mentioned like a movie soundtrack, it feels to me they're telling a story with this. I don't know what the lyrics are about, or we've never talked about the lyrics yet, but it feels very much like it's like Stairway to Heaven. You have to start at the start and go to the end to really experience this journey that they're taking you on.
Yeah,
November Rain, sort of a thing.
But unlike those songs, I'm pretty sure we're done with the lyrics. It was one run through of verse.
Now it's all instrumental.
I believe so. It certainly is, as I recall, on the live version. But the arrangement is just really outstanding here.
An Iron Maiden song that part of it pops into my head when we listen to this. We did an episode about Murders in the Rue Morgue, that beginning section before it speeds up, kind of like this. Similar vibe. It's similar production quality, too.
Yeah, that's the era that we're talking about, kind of that early 80s, pre-Bruce, Iron Maiden Killers, the first two albums. It's definitely got that vibe. Because when Bruce came in, they went in a different direction. But the first two are super influenced by this tune and by this band. No doubt about it. Is there another keyboard track? Is like
there's something going on there. I can't really put my finger on it.
That might be the strings.
Is that keyboard or guitar, guys?
I don't know.
Nick thinks strings, maybe.
I'm thinking kind of one of those things where, like the old school Jonathan Cain and Journey in '81, where he had his grand piano and then he had his keyboard on top of the grand piano because they didn't have the banks of synthesizers then.
Yeah.
So he has to play one old school piano. It feels like a bum, 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 It's very subtle in the background, but if you guys listen to it,
I was hearing it, and the first time through, it almost sounded like one of those talk boxes of the
something
Walsh,
that could be there. There's
Peter
something
Frampton
there. There's a real dynamic part going on in the background.
A little subtle, but you can hear it. You don't really hear it so much in the live version. They got the crowd noise going. They might not even have played it on the live version because I'm noticing it now in the studio version. But
yeah,
just another layer to the arrangement.
Yep. Layer, great point, great layer.
You pouring yourself a drink over there?
Maybe.
You know what I'm drinking?
What?
Total fucking Dewclaw.
Had to do it.
I was waiting for that.
No-brainer.
Yeah.
Cash in on this hard seltzer.
Props
mine.
to whoever the Photoshop genius in the group is.
I believe that was a fellow
Dewclaw.
Winnipegger, Jeff Diaz.
It was.
He's from Winnipeg?
Yeah.
Brilliance comes from that
Great
city.
guy, too.
Us Winnipeggers are pretty fucking smart, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm
2 for
pretty
2.
I'm pretty sure I'm right about that, right?
Yeah, you
Jeff
are.
Diaz.
You're correct for sure.
I laugh about that at random times. Like, you know, if I'm in the gym or I'm doing something and it pops in my head like a little guy, like, total fucking dooklaw.
Anytime you look around at the gym, at any given time, some douchebag could come into your vision, and that just pops into your head.
I think about you guys all the time, even when I'm having sex.
Oh, good.
Boy.
Good.
Yeah, that's when he's having sex and catches a glimpse of himself in the mirror. What does he hear in his head?
He hears himself think, oh.
Total fucking dooklaw.
That is one of the greatest things ever in the history of mankind.
That's honestly the best quote in rock and roll of all time.
Amazing.
Like, that is fucking great.
The delivery, everything, incredible.
Just the Mustaine vitriol, just spitting out these words. Total
great.
Fucking.
So
you almost see
great.
this. He held the screen up, just spit coming out.
He's scanning for like a split second for what exactly to call this guy. Like, he's committed to an insult, but he's not quite sure for a split second what.
And he
it's gonna
comes
be.
up with Duke Law.
That's the most impressive part.
I almost feel that, not to get off topic, I almost feel that earlier that day or earlier that week, Dave took his dog to the clinic, and his dog had fallen into a hole and had sprained her ankle or his ankle. And he was there, and it's like, well, Mr. Mustaine, your ankle has been swollen. He's like, what is that there? Well, that's called the dew claw. What is that for? It really does nothing. It's like an appendix in a human. It's a dew claw. It does nothing.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, so if something does nothing, it's a total fucking dew claw? Why, yes, it is.
Yeah.
That can also be
Banked it.
applied to humans? Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's get back on track. We got 2 more minutes.
Oh, boy.
Half the time it could seem
I was wrong. There's another set here.
Yeah, dude, there's a Zeppelin influence there too. He kind of sounds like Robert Plant as well, which of course he does. If he sounds like Coverdale, he sounds like Robert Plant.
Sure,
as we know, they're basically clones of each other. Well, but yeah, there's a total Zeppelin vibe there too.
funny. The other half's just too sad. It's westbound moons, oh, they rise and fall. Lost you and I want you today. Misty green and blue.
Now, I doubt there's a direct influence, but a lot of when he's hitting some of those notes, he really sounds like Angry Anderson from Rose Tattoo. No, seriously, he really does.
Yeah, it's just funny to hear another name.
I'm sure not as big a name and not as big an influence as far as widespread stuff goes, but I really hear a decent amount of Angry Anderson when he hits certain notes.
You know what's funny too, Nick, that you say that, because it's, and I could they're over, umbrellaing this, but I would almost not guarantee, but I would like to put this to the panel that there's some Guns N' Roses in here too. I feel Guns N' Roses is influenced by UFO. Just in the arrangements of these songs, like I said, when I think of November Rain or Estranged, or a couple of those tunes from Use Your Illusion, they're very much the epic ballad, and maybe it's just from Stairway to Heaven, but there's something in that, and those guys are the same age that Kirk and James / Axl. I bet you if you asked them, they would say, yeah, we love UFO. We loved them.
I guarantee it. In fact, I'm sure I've read it somewhere. Slash has got to worship at the altar of Michael Schenker. They're in that same vibe. I mean, Schenker was a god to a lot of guys who became guitar gods themselves.
Who became gods, yeah. I love the fact that it's the classic, just total fucking dewclaw, like just total asshole. Like a good friend of mine, Mark Madden, he's sports. He's like the king of sports in Pittsburgh. He used to be a commentator for WCW, whatever. He is a UFO fanatic, and he's seen them 15 times, and 5 out of those 15 times, the show ended early with Michael Shankar and Phil Mogg getting into a fucking fist fight on stage. I'm leaving. Fuck you.
So he's got a bad
crowd. Fuck you. I'm out of the show.
I didn't realize he had that kind of rep.
He went down some dark roads, almost like Vinnie Vincent, like in terms of like there were promises of him showing up and doing gigs. He bailed on that. He hooked up with some woman who became his manager and like totally took him down some wrong roads.
He's always having troubles with his brother. They're always going back and forth.
Yeah, he doesn't talk to Rudolph Shankar or Michael Shankar are not on speaking terms and haven't been for 10 years at this point. Think about that. In your 70s and 60s, you're not talking to your fucking older brother?
That's crazy.
That's kind of the reputation he has.
Didn't realize that. When you said a Vinnie Vincent thing, I thought you were going to say Tupperwares with dogs in them. I'm glad it didn't get that.
No, he didn't cross that line.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
That's the stuff
he
of nightmares.
He didn't put a dog in Tupperware. He just punched his lead singer on stage.
That's okay.
Countless times.
Big finish.
Wow.
Hell yeah, man. That's
what an outro.
Yeah, and it's, Shankar being Shankar at that point, which is why most guitar guys worshipped him, and melting your face off at the end of putting the power back into the ballad. The ballad comes from Mogg. The power comes from pretty much everybody else. Paul Raymond going in a little bit of both. Funny you mentioned Jonathan Cain of Journey. Paul Raymond was kind of similar, where he'd be playing the keyboards and then he'd step out on guitar to play rhythm behind the ripping lead guitar player.
Did they have one of those guitars on the stand where he could just walk up to it?
No, he would actually just
pick one
have
up?
it on, be wearing it, and just step out from behind the keyboards. And
some fucking Dewclaw roadie would just give.
Yeah, the guitar was out of tune, so they proceeded to luau his fat ass the next time.
You probably have this, Andy. You deserve better.
Yeah.
Do I?
You guys deserve way better.
You deserve better.
I'm sorry.
What is it?
That was it. Hold on. Here we go.
You guys deserved way better than this jerk-off did tonight. I'm sorry.
I love Dave Mustaine.
The whole thing is one of the greatest things in the history, not just entertainment, not just the internet, in the history of mankind.
Okay, let me just take it back to Shankar on that solo that he just played. Whenever I hear songs like this, and the date to me is very important, and you named it earlier, 1977. The reason why it means so much is I always try and put myself into this timeline of 1977. Who's the guitar heroes at this point in time? Hendrix, blows your mind.
Yeah, Van Halen had not emerged on the scene yet.
Van Halen was not around yet. So I'm saying, yeah, exactly. So in 1977, if you were a UFO fan, you would be listening to that solo and be going the same way that we would be about Eddie in 78 or Randy in 79. listen to this fucking song.
Yeah.
This guy's the best.
Well,
and at the time, you would think that.
And along the lines where you mentioned Van Halen versus Rhodes, you know, Schenker being the Van Halen, the counterpart to him, the Rhodes, the precursor to Rhodes, is obviously Ritchie Blackmore. He was the other top
Great
dog
point.
during the mid to early
point.
70s. And, you know, he influenced Malmsteen, all those guys.
Yeah.
And he was another volatile character, to say the least.
Great. But you know what, dude? Like I said, not to show my hand here, but this is why I was excited about this week, because I had no idea what we're doing. And if you would have said, "Hey, let's do this song," I went, "Nah, let's pick something else." Because I'm very set in my rock and roll ways. And this was a great eye opener of the brilliance of UFO that my good friend Eddie Trunk has been talking to me about since I met him 20 years ago. You know, so.
Well, should we start the voting then? What's your vote? Sweet Surrender or Kick in the Crotch, Tooge?
Me? Well, I just basically said it's Sweet Surrender.
All right.
It's Sweet Surrender.
Hell yeah. Once again, not a fan of, not familiar with UFO. Familiar with the influence, much respect, et cetera, but it's hard to go back 50 years or 45 years. 45 years to kind of suss out these bands, which is why it's great to be doing these shows with you guys. I honestly would never have listened to this song in my life,
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
Ever. It's like when I played you guys Kick Axe. So let's go check out some Kick Axe or whatever it may be. So, great song, great vibe. Like I said, I want to listen to it from its entirety to hear what they were going for. There's a story being told. It's very cinematic. It's very epic. I think his voice is great. Coverdale, Robert Plant, the guitar playing of Michael Shankar. I understand what it is about him that people think is the greatest. And what was he here? 22, 23?
Yeah, at the most. I mean, he was in the Scorpions at age 15, I think.
Wow.
Something crazy like that.
Much respect.
Incredible.
For the first, I was this many days old when I finally understood UFO, thanks to the fine gentleman at Pod of Thunder.
Great.
See, there you go. I'll go next since everybody knows what I'm going to say.
Gee, what are you
Sweet
going to say,
Surrender,
Chris?
Of course, obviously, the sweetest of songs.
It's Sweet Surrender. Hell yes.
Again, in my estimation, the greatest power ballad of all time has the power and the ballad both extremely high quality. The arrangement incredible. I'm only familiar before tonight with the live version. The studio version is essentially note for note exact. They didn't stretch it out. They didn't do anything different. They nailed it in the studio and put it out there intact on stage. And why not? What would you do to change or improve this? I can't think of anything.
Right.
Well, fans of UFO, 2 votes in. You know how they're feeling, Nick.
When you're down in the dumps and you need something to bring you.
The blatant edit loop.
Oh boy.
Nick, it's your turn to vote.
Sweet Surrender.
It's Sweet Surrender. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I should have looked up how to say it in German. But
Sweet Surrender?
But I didn't think of it
Oh,
until
man.
now.
Sweet and surrendering.
I think that's Swedish.
No one's
It's all
gonna.
Nordic.
Who's gonna give us a hard time about it? I
Offense to
don't
our
know.
Nordic fans here in Pod of Thunder.
They're not listening.
They're sleeping.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought that I wouldn't say, at least at this point, that it's my favorite as far as power ballads go. I do like it didn't really have a chorus per se, like a big hook, but it had just
Good point.
Just the title of the song, the way that was sung, was the recurring kind of hook. It was very short, but it was effective. I liked that. I really like thinking about it, and I was trying to figure out like what band does this really remind me of, and It reminds me, like, it's something that could have been on the Hair of the Dog album.
That's another one. Another
That's
like,
rich.
it's
Good
70s
call.
band,
Like,
Very
just
good.
underrated.
Sonically, it's very similar to what they had going on at this
Great
period.
call.
Think
That's a
about
great call,
think
man.
about all the we must have referenced 24 bands from every genre of the 70s, and we've only scratched the surface of the quality that was coming out in that era.
Yep,
and
you're right.
that's a great call right there. Some of those Nazareth deep cuts are incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the 70s tops.
Yeah, 70s followed by the 90s, in my opinion. There was a lot of experimentation.
I have to
going
go
on
along
rock
with you on
bands.
that. Yeah.
So,
I agree.
I'll pass it over to Andy.
I too will give it a sweet surrender.
It's sweet surrender.
Hell yes.
Did this resonate with you on your sensitive, tender side? Talk to us about that.
About the tender side, that's
Yes.
the ever-growing tender side.
the languid lovemaking, the deep eye contact, slow grind, all that stuff. Did this kind of bubble any of that up in you, or what was your take on it,
No.
having heard it for the first time?
Not really.
Well, that's a disappointment.
Yeah, I don't have anything negative
For
to
his
say
wife, mainly. But
going back to sort of what Nick said a little bit, it doesn't have a huge chorus like Aerosmith Angel or something like that, where it's like the earworm that you'll never forget. This song, to me, it didn't make me think of romantic escapades, really.
No.
It was more of just like the musicianship and enjoying that,
Yeah,
and
nothing
the
wrong with
dynamics and stuff. But it wasn't like
I was going to say this. It's not that type of song. It's like Stairway to Heaven is not a romantic song. It's an epic song. Another one that's getting into my head, which is super obscure as well, unless you know 70s Heart, is Mistral Wind. This really has that vibe of this epic fucking song. If you guys are familiar with that tune,
I'm
Mistral
not,
Wind?
actually.
I'm not either.
Go and check it out if you're interested, because in the 70s Heart was totally a Led Zeppelin influenced band, except for they had a female singer and a female guitar player. But there's a song they have called Minstrel Wind, which is kind of their version of Stairway, which is very much the same tone and not sound, but tone and vibe is this one.
Sorry, Andy looked at me, and we got the same joke. I think.
we're both trying to spit it out and we can't get it.
I better
Sorry.
not. Minstrel
What
Wind.
did I say?
No, it's nothing you said. It's just the name of the
they're
song.
keying in on the word
It's-
wind, I guarantee.
Well, I think
you.
it's
was a combination.
changing one letter in minstrel, and
See,
there's,
I was gonna say-
they're both females in the band.
I was going to say it was on the soundtrack of the Clumps.
Never mind. Totally different joke.
I wasn't going to say it. I made a face at Nick, but terrible. I'm fired.
You can't get fired from your own show.
That's true. All right, well, hey, it was all sweet surrenders all around. Guess what? You know what that
What
means.
does that mean? Hammond!
All right, Hammond. I got a question for you.
How unbelievable is that exists?
All right, Hammond.
It's awesome.
I got a question for you.
So, has to be unanimous. We have to get our votes in if we're going to call this a rock and roll boner classic. Something to think about. Paul Stanley needs to know.
He'd love to know.
Have we ever heard of Kiss and UFO discussed together?
I'm sure they toured together.
Probably
yeah,
toured,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
Probably, right?
I'm sure Kiss opened for UFO many times. I bet you.
and vice versa later on down
Oh
the
no,
line.
I'm sorry. Yeah. 77.
Yeah.
Yeah, UFO was opening for Kiss for sure.
Yeah, and obviously Rush talks about all the time about their tours with UFO, how they bust their balls about the kimonos and like what was another one? Like they nailed down pieces of their equipment so that when it was time for them to take it off stage as the opening act. They couldn't get it off the stage or something like that.
Sounds made up. Nailing it.
And then when they showed up to try and get free tickets for Rush's arena tours for every show afterwards, Rush had them escorted out of the building. That's a great story.
Yeah, when Wasted came crawling to Rush to open up on the Power Windows tour, they were summarily rejected. Phone calls were not answered.
When
Voice
Fastway
messages
showed up
were not
for the Roll of
returned.
Bones tour, they were turned down instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so let's get our votes in.
Oh, mine's in.
Chris's is in.
obviously.
Chris L's vote is in.
Now, since we have 4 people, we each say one of the 4 words, rock and roll boner. So it's just a matter of establishing the order. I'll go first. Tooge, you want to go next? Second? And then we'll let the Jones boys finish it out?
I'd like one of the Jones boys to go next, just to hear what I need to read the room a bit.
All right. Nick, second.
Okay.
Tooge, third.
Andy's
fourth.
the anchor. All right.
Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Everybody's votes in.
Yes.
Nick? Are you still thinking?
I am still thinking.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Not sure I'm comfortable with this. If there was a table between us, I'd be leaping over it, lunging at his throat.
Okay, my vote's in.
Andy's in. Tooge is in.
My vote is in. Tooge, baby, you're in. Yep. All right.
Okay, let's get this started. Rock.
And
Oh!
Oh my God.
Now, hold on. This is meant to no disrespect to Chris L, because I really enjoyed this song, but only hearing it once, I cannot put it in the upper echelon of rock and roll boners. Give me 5 or 6 listens, and then I'll be able to give you a more educated opinion.
So it's not a first-time instant boner.
It's not a go fuck your ass, go away. It's I need time. I need to spend time with this song because I really enjoyed it. I really did. But there's other songs like Holier Than Thou off the Black Album. That's the best Metallica song I've ever heard. And then you listen to it 4 or 5 times, like, yeah, it's okay. Other ones are better.
Sure, yeah.
I can get on board with that.
But to your credit, Chris, you did open up this whole world of Love to Love You by UFO, which now I want to go and listen to it more. Maybe 2 months from now, I might send an addendum to my decision and have a lawyer sign it and a notary sign it, and maybe we can reverse the decision.
Well, it's something else you might want to do thinking forward, which would increase your awareness of it. They would be a great band for a classic album clash. Get some of the UFO freaks in your social circle.
Kirk Hammett, Eddie Trunk,
And
let me ask,
because I'm pretty sure most of their they had that string of studio albums throughout the late 70s, which, by the way, most of them had those kind of weird Scorpions-esque covers to them, so they were on that
there's a certain
bandwagon as well.
guy who, like, his name was like Helmut Kudamaya or something that did all those covers, and they're all fucking, chewing gum on the tits, and a chick next to a guy's crotch with a dog, like, who's sucking it first? Like, come on, really?
That's the name of the album.
The Who's Sucking It
last
First
question.
tour.
ALB, usually we don't ask this, but I'm asking you as a friend. Or wait, asking for a friend. What would you have said if I said rock and roll?
I think I would have.
Do this?
We can do this. I think I would have said no boner and then ran out of the room as fast as I could before Chris got up. And it's exactly what you said. It's cool, but is it an all-time classic on the first listen? I'm not sure. I'd like to hear it. I'd like to hear it more. I'd like to hear the live version that Chris was talking about. I want to dig deeper. So,
let me ask you a question. What is the picture above your head? Is that Soul Glow, Rick James, or is that Paul Stanley? The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
That's Paul Stanley Live to Win photo session, a painting of it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Why do you have that?
I got it as a wedding gift from my friend Bob. Money would have been nice, but
you've
It's better than
kidding.
money.
Yeah, it is.
You've actually crossed paths with Bob on a Kiss cruise.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the guy I met in the bathroom?
No. That's Cavaccini.
I'm saying. I know, but is there another? Like, is this kind of a thing where all your friends come to meet me in the bathroom?
They probably are bathroom lurkers,
Yeah,
most of our
could
friends
be.
and listeners.
Meet us in the ladies' room.
Did I tell you my wife encountered Doc McGee in the bathroom on the Kiss cruise?
And it was the ladies' bathroom?
No, it was the men's room because she was getting seasick, and the closest bathroom was the men's room. She burst in there. Doc McGee was at the sink. She almost puked all over Doc McGee. And
How's it going?
Apparently, he was very nice to her. Was concerned. Was stayed around and possibly held her hair back so it didn't fall in the toilet bowl.
Wow.
That's all I ever heard about Doc McGee until he fucking jobbed me out backstage at a Kiss concert in Tampa. But that's a whole other story.
Oh, I got to hear that story sometime. Hey, we didn't rubber stamp it. If you disagree with us,
That's just the fucking way it is.
deal with it.
Yeah, I'm curious
We're
to
sorry.
see the response of listeners on this one.
Yeah.
There are a lot of UFO fans out there, so
There
We'll
is
see.
a lot of UFO fans. There really is.
Well, you know what I'm a fan of?
What is that, Andy?
commercials.
I just thought of something else. I'm a fan of two
Little
things.
Caesars Pizza commercials or what?
I'm a fan of many things.
Wow.
One of them is...
Oh boy.
Time for a big treat. Big treat.
Terrible. What the hell is that?
That makes it so much better.
Usually your songs are great. That was awful. Was that supposed to be like a Wendy O. Williams tribute or something?
No, it was an Alice Cooper. Blame Bob Ezra and don't blame me.
There you
Hey,
go.
listen, don't mention Bob Ezra to Paul Stanley now. He fucking hates him.
Oh, really? They're at
Oh, yeah.
odds now.
Because
great.
Bob said something about Monster, and he's like, well, you know, the last few Alice Cooper records ain't any good neither.
Oh boy.
Wow. Going
Did
for
we
the throat.
did we talk about? I watched a not really on purpose. Someone sent it to me, but Richard Marx did a. He's got some kind of a episodic thing on YouTube, and he had Paul on there. They were talking about guys whose voices can still pretty much do what they used to do, and he brought up Steven Tyler.
Yep.
And Paul Stanley just kind of didn't know what to say for a second,
No.
and then kind of
Let me
changed the
give you the
subject.
direct quote.
Okay.
Because Steven Tyler is a great singer.
Sure.
Here's Paul. Sure.
I thought, didn't he right away say, "Oh, I wanted to talk about Rod Stewart," or something? Like he changed it right away.
Whatever
Somebody
the
else.
thing was, it was basically just fucking drop the bomb and like, I'm going to let you be super awkward because I don't give a shit. So, like, yeah, Steven Tyler's great, right? You like him as a singer, right? Sure.
It just sits there. Yeah. So anyway.
Okay, what about Rod Stewart? Yeah, I love Rod Stewart. He's great.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they've got... Those guys have issues, apparently.
Oh boy.
Something there.
So we got some dessert here. I wish you were here to have some. But
Yeah, that's that time. Nick had a case full of desserts for us. We
did.
figure we'll get
What?
into those. Yeah, that's what Nick does every
Yeah.
week now.
yeah, it's a thing now. That's what it is.
Nick
I
bakes.
saw you in the lobby getting dessert.
Now, I got to say, the presentation of this dessert is very
Let me show.
upscale restaurant, like, the type of restaurant where it's a 6-month wait to get in. The portions are like,
Oh my God, you made chocolate ET heads. Thank you.
I'll save one
What
for
is
you.
that?
It is.
I don't know.
Okay, so it is.
looks like Batman's dinner a little bit. But I'm sure what is that? What is that
You know
shit?
what?
Caesar.
He was
cat food?
he was sniffing around the bag actually before we started, and there's probably
He's no
a good,
dummy.
there's a good reason.
He wasn't born yesterday, Nick. I'll tell you that.
This is chocolate chip peanut butter cookie dough hummus.
Holy shit
With,
balls.
And
That's what it looks like. A little shit
Sounds
ball.
like a
and
nut
it's
bomb to me.
Okay, there's a reason for the color. Because apparently when you're putting this in the food processor, it generates a little heat. I put the chocolate chips in, just melted right in, just make it look a nasty brown color.
It looks like a turd.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting.
Obviously, you haven't watched the Paul Stanley cooking class on the Kiss Cruise. You put the chocolate chips in first, and then put in the whipped cream.
I hope he does. I hope he does his Southern preacher voice when he does a cooking class.
Now what is this surrounded by?
This is Japanese milk pudding. So it's a cookies and milk kind of a thing.
Japanese
That goes back
milk
to Goblin.
pudding.
Again, another Asian porn title.
Oh boy,
Japanese
Get your head out
milk
of the gutter,
pudding.
Chris L. What are you talking about?
I'm just telling you that these are coincidences that are coming up. I didn't
feel
make
really
this
left out
up.
because I do not have what are those things like 3D printers where you can print out like somebody's statue or something.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We need 3D dessert printers where I
There
can
should
actually
be.
go.
That's a great idea.
Try something.
Well, I would.
What were you eating over there?
That's true. You were eating earlier.
So I ordered some Uber Eats 3 hours ago before the Striper listening party. Sorry, almost 4 hours ago. And it came so late, I didn't want to miss a minute of the Striper listening party, so I didn't eat a thing. And so I had a bunch of ribs, and I had some baked chicken that I was nibbling on discreetly during your show. Although you guys can see me, but you're only four guys that can see me.
Yeah.
Rock and roll takes precedent. Sorry, rock and roll takes precedent over eating dinner every time.
Wow.
It does.
I don't know if that's
Chris, how
true.
was
In
the
the,
dessert?
I don't know. How's it?
what do you think, Chris?
I'm waiting for the reaction here.
It's good.
See, I know, and it's chickpeas. You know, it's a hummus, so it's
Yeah, but you don't really get that. I'm getting much more of the cookie dough.
Yeah, that's
which
good.
is good.
That's good.
And then
But isn't
blended,
hummus like peanuts and shit, or like
It's chickpeas, like
Soybeans or
garbanzo beans,
blended with the Japanese milk pudding. I mean, you know.
Do we really need this in our desserts at this point in time? If you're that healthy, here's a tip. Don't fucking eat dessert.
You don't
When
care?
I was a kid, I had chocolate cake, and there was little things in it. I'm like, oh, Auntie Bev, what's in the chocolate cake? Zucchini. Are you fucking kidding me? Zucchini?
Now, what
a
did it-
chocolate cake?
Did it bother?
What's the point?
As soon as you found out, were you like, nope, I'm all done, or did you keep
Never.
going?
I ate 17 of those motherfuckers until I found out there was zucchini. Never touched it again. And to this day, it's a point of contention within my family that Claude Jericho will not eat the family recipe chocolate cake because it's got zucchini in it.
Do
No
Claude
reason for
Jericho.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
I gotta say, I don't taste any kind of healthy beans or peas, so there's something about it. Let's get in.
All right.
Let's do a Yardo questions, huh? We got a few minutes.
Let's do a few. I put my heart on a sleeve to you guys. You said no. I got to get out of here. I got shit to do.
Okay, here we go. We'll make it quick.
Joking, of course.
Yes.
Just please include me. Please include me.
How about it, guys?
Chris J, what's your opinion of the Tommy Thayer lead vocal tracks that we got on the last two Kiss albums?
Is this from When Lightning Strikes by
Yeah.
from Sonic?
Yeah.
Do you want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sound like a jerk or something. I'm going to get flamed for this. I didn't need to hear Eric Carr singing Little Caesar on the Hot in the Shade album. I get it. Back in the day, it was about four singers. And then Animalized Tour, Kiss Uncensored. We loved Eric Carr singing Unwasted and Black Diamond. It's amazing. I do not need to hear these guys singing songs on an album because here's the reason why. If it's When Lightning Strikes by Tommy Thayer or when it's All in the Name of Rock and Roll by Eric Singer, if those songs were top A grade, number one, A+ category songs, guess who would be singing them?
Yeah.
Bingo. I don't need a ribbon for everybody in the band.
I fully
You're a
agree
drummer,
on the Eric Singer
guitar player.
songs.
What's that?
I fully agree with you on the Eric Singer songs. Those are both throwaways.
Do you remember when that
Well,
came
the Tommy
out?
Thayer, though. You like the Tommy Thayer?
I do, actually.
ones?
I really like the Tommy Thayer ones, yeah.
Both of them, huh?
I do, yeah.
Do you remember when Sonic Boom came out? I know we talked about this 5 years ago or whatever when we did that episode, but that All for the Glory song that Eric Singer sings,
Yeah.
there was a period when they were playing it during highlights of college football
Yeah.
on CBS. I'm like, how the hell did they get that deal for that song?
Well, I'll tell you what. I bet you who was angry about that too was Paul and Gene, because I don't know if I haven't seen you guys recently, but we did a cover of No 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 with Quarantine, our little fun thing, and No 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 got to number 25 on the mainstream rock.
It's incredible.
charts.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Awesome.
again.
Yeah.
Here's the best part: the top songs from the Crazy Nights record of 1987. Crazy Nights made it to 37.
Oof.
Reason to Live made it to 34. So the top charting song from the Crazy Nights record is No 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 by Quarantine.
How
See,
about
now when Richard Marx asks Paul about that, you're going to get another bit of awkward silence. That he's going to be like,
I'll
sure.
tell you exactly what Paul
Sure.
said.
that? Oh, this is good.
I'll tell you exactly
phone.
what Paul said. When I'm gonna send it to you guys. I'm gonna hold it up to the.
Is there a picture
thing.
of Qbert at the bottom of this quote?
When I told him that No 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 was now the highest charting song in the history of the Crazy Nights record, I'm trying to find it. I can't zoom in on it, but I'll try and hold on.
I can't see it from here.
I think Andy's...
Can you see that?
Look at your phone. He just sent it to us.
The throwing up emoji, the puking emoji.
That was his response, huh?
You know what
His
else?
hold on.
Okay,
That was
go
his
ahead.
only response.
And, well, what I'm telling you is, as he was responding to that, he was hearing a little voice in his head that said the magic 3 words about you boasting about this, and it was these following words.
Total fucking dewclaw.
Yeah, he's not tolerating that out of you.
I don't think that Paul and I are friends anymore.
That's
That was it. You ruined
But
it.
Gene,
You
on the other
blew it.
hand, thought it was great. Listen, whatever, who cares? Bottom line was, we put together this obscure Kiss song in celebration of that era of Kiss, and it got to this, whatever. What does it matter? Who cares? Whatever. But it's pretty cool that in the middle of a quarantine, we put together a non-makeup Kiss cover band that featured the guitar player from Kiss and got to number 25 on the charts. So.
There you go.
Was he more receptive to it when you told him about it before the charting?
He loved the Heart of Chrome one because
it's his.
For people listening, we did it's Quarantine with a K. We did No No No, and then we did Heart of Chrome. And No 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 was the other guy's choice. Heart of Chrome was mine. And the reason for it was it's a super hard song to sing. It's very high. It's very dynamic. But I've been singing it since 1992. I love that song. I know exactly how it goes. It took me more time to record No 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 in the studio than it did Heart of Chrome. So when I told Paul that we're doing Heart of Chrome, he goes, if you can sing that song in the original melody with the original in the original key and the original melody, you've accomplished something special. And fucking dude did it. Great. Whatever. Sent it to me. He said, this is great. Thumbs up. Awesome. Thanks, Paul. And No 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 is number 25 on the charts.
Barf.
Yeah, and he's never spoken to you again since, correct?
Block
Chris?
this number.
Honestly, that was in June.
That's been it.
Haven't heard a thing.
You ruined it. Oh,
You
well.
ruined this for me.
Yeah, you're ruining it for me.
Well, that's a low note in this show. We need something, Nick. You know what we need?
When you're down in the dumps and you need something to bring you.
Now it might just it might just be me, but I can hear the auto tune in that. I'm just saying, might just be me.
Now, if you can sing, if you can sing that in the original key, then that's something special you've accomplished.
He'll send you an eggplant emoji for that.
You got another question there, or are we done?
So no, we're
we
ready.
didn't even start yet, for Christ's sake.
Shit.
So here we go. This Yardo Questions comes to us from a fella named Don LaRue.
That's a bullshit name, by the way. I don't buy it.
All right, Don, you're full of shit. Strike one. Let's see what you got on these questions.
Andy's getting loaded on the fucking Pepsi Zero.
Yeah.
I think there's something in Nick's dessert. Those chickpeas.
That was pretty good, though. The
What you don't know is it
presentation,
was filled with pure hashish.
how you concealed that ingredient, very high end chef type of thing.
This could be your finest moment, Nick.
Yeah, if you
Bask in your
walked up
glory.
to the three dickheads on Hell's Kitchen with that, you'd have been sent upstairs, and that's what you want to have happen.
Wow.
So nicely done.
I'll hold on to that one.
Yeah, that was good, man.
Yeah. Mine's all done.
Some hummus brownies. Sheesh. Oh, yeah.
If you can use Paul Stanley's original recipe and pull off these hummus brownies,
Liffin.
Then you've really accomplished
like
something.
Paul, it's in Food Network magazine this month. Barf face.
Oh, man.
If you could put a pair of Puma shoes on that barf emoji.
All right, so question one. What do you prefer in a live music setting? A packed club with like 600 people, like St. Andrews Hall,
Okay, I like that reference. That's a Detroit venue.
or an arena or stadium with tens of thousands, and why?
Probably the club, I think.
Are you asking me or anybody?
It's for anybody.
I think
to
it's for
jump
all of
in.
us, and this is as a spectator.
To watch it?
Yeah.
It's a smaller club, I would say, for the most part. Although I'm not going to go full tilt into, oh, well, it's more intimate and that's the only reason. It's
The parking's easier?
well, it depends. Some of those clubs downtown Chicago, you're
Yeah,
looking
it's
for
worse.
parking longer than you're at the show.
Oh, shit.
But I don't know. There is something about being at the smaller venue, but then there's also something about what they're able to do in an arena show with pyro and whatnot.
Here's the difference for me. Now that I have a job, I never take free tickets, comp tickets. I appreciate it's great. I buy tickets and I go right to the fucking front, whatever it costs or wherever as close as I can get. So if it's stadium, arena, club, I'm right in the front. Stadium is a great atmosphere, but you cannot be sitting in row 722.
No.
It's not the same. If you're in the front or close to the front, first 30 rows in a stadium, it's brilliant. Same with the arena. But if you're going to do it, you got to be up front. If not, if you want the real vibe and the band to really vibe with you, the smaller the venue, the better.
I'm with him
If it's going
on
to be a
that.
giant venue, the closer you are as a fan, the better.
I'm with you. I'm with him on that. I prefer to be as close to the stage and to the band as possible. So your chances are better of doing that in a smaller venue.
Yeah. Tickets for the... I can't even remember the name of the place at this point. What is it now? It's not Tweeter Center. It's not the... whatever.
Midwest Bank Amphitheater.
First Midwest Bank. There's a guy I work with who's talking about it. It's like, oh, you should go to the show. And I'm like, I looked and all the good tickets are gone. He's like, dude, get some lawn tickets for $10.
fuck
I'm like,
that.
dude,
I'll never do that.
I would rather not go and have lawn tickets. Like the inconvenience, this makes me sound like an
With
old
you.
bum, but like the inconvenience of going, parking, paying for all this stuff, and then you're on the lawn and you barely experience anything. Like you're technically in the venue with the band, but you barely, I mean, it's quiet.
Yeah, it sucks.
It sucks. It's shit. We're talking about lawn tickets, like for those big outdoor places. It's like I was saying, I'd rather not even go than have a lawn ticket. That's how bad it is.
My thing is, and listen, this is not coming from any standpoint of when I was a kid up until now, I always had a job. I always had a job since I was 10, delivering flyers for 1 cent a flyer. Ha ha ha. I walked uphill to school both ways, whatever. But the reason why I had a job was so I could always buy every album that I wanted. And this is not a joke. Like I want to go buy a record every week. And when bands come to town, I want to buy a ticket. And now that I have a job that pays some money for whatever, I will fucking pay for my ticket. I don't need the Dave Ellison, Kiss got me free tickets, and he's up here and Kiss is there. Oh, my free, like, dude, God bless you, but fuck that. I don't need that shit. I want to bring you as close as I can, whatever venue it is. Lawn tickets, if that's your thing, whatever, great. For me, I need to be there.
Yeah.
I got a great story. When we went and saw the Stones last year in New Orleans, one of my least favorite things with the Rona this year was we were supposed to see them in Tampa, and of course they canceled. But last year we saw them in New Orleans, and they have a big long catwalk, and I was able to get tickets right beside the catwalk. Like here's here's the catwalk, here's the gate, the fence, and here's me. And Mick goes down for the acoustic set, and they're about to do. They ended up doing Dead Flowers and Angie, and he goes down. He's like, "Here's what I hear, Mick Jagger. I need some water. I need some water." And no one is bringing him water, and all I have is a Gigi or whatever. I'm like, get the fucking man some water. Like, get him some water. He needs water. He's like, I need some water. And this is the Rolling Stones. 50 years of rock and roll, headlining brilliance. And nobody was around to bring him some water. Starts doing Dead Flowers. And he's like, your dead flowers on my grave. Can I get some water? And he comes down and look. And during the... Like, how does Mick Jagger not have a cup of water at the end of this stage?
You know what was going through Mick Jagger's mind about the guy who was supposed to bring him some water? Go.
What did he say?
He said 3 little words.
He said,
Total fucking dewclaw.
and he also said something else.
Total
That's what he said after the show was done. What did he
skin
say?
and life.
Oh, he said,
You guys deserve way better than this jerk-off did tonight, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, when they got to Hawaii, they blew out his fat ass.
Yeah.
Probably.
Can I get some water? Like, if you're close enough to hear that, that's rock and roll, man. And that's where you're like, even though it's the Stones, all he wants is some water. Can I not get some water? And all of us have played shows before, even some little shitty double door in Chicago club, whatever. Does anybody have water?
right.
It's one little sip.
Yeah, he didn't ask for a chicken finger basket. He just asked for some water. You think they'd be able to oblige?
Can I get some lobster thermidor?
Yeah.
No, it's fucking water.
You give him an inch, you never know what he's going to ask for next.
Bring your own water.
Who does he think he is?
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
you can't just give him. Can't just give him the water like
fucking prima donna.
Take $6 out of his check. All right, question 2. Imagine you're in a band with Sammy Hagar. Explain to him, an extremely successful rock vocalist, that his lyrics are crap. How do you do it without losing your cash cow?
You don't.
Apparently.
Obviously. I mean, we've seen how hard, even for Van Halen, we've seen how hard it is to get somebody else.
Yeah.
Let me know when it's my turn, and I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go. You probably actually played with Hagar on stage in some capacity.
I have, and I'm big. As you know, I'm a big fan of your show, and I've heard 2 of your episodes, which I think you did this on purpose. Up for breakfast? Seriously? Of course you did it to take the piss. It's terrible. But oh yeah, was an unturned shit gem. That song was. I even texted you guys. It was fucking terrible. Where did it go? There's a breakdown. There's a prog thing. No, F off. And to me, the Red Hot Chili Peppers is one of my top 10 favorite bands. Chad Smith is the greatest rock and roll drummer in the world today. He can play with anybody, including AC/DC, which is not easy because there's only one guy that can do it.
Yeah.
So when I hear these questions about Sammy is a great, with a capital GR, rock and roll singer. At 70 years old, he's one of those rare guys like Ronnie James Dio that didn't lose a step. Go see Paul now. Go see McCartney now. Go see anybody in that era. It's hard for them to sing that way. Guess what? Sammy never lost a step.
Oh no, nobody's ever disputed that in terms of the quality.
But unfortunately, he's not a great lyric writer.
He's not.
Nor is Brian Johnson. That's why Angus and Malcolm kicked Brian Johnson out of writing the lyrics in 1987. Did you guys know this?
I thought it was because he missed the writing sessions and they never asked him to come back.
That's what it's in Hit Parader magazine, Nick. Bottom line was, you can't write like Bon Scott. We gave you 4 albums of trying. You're out. So what I told you guys in text, that Eddie has said on the record that it's not my responsibility to write lyrics. I never paid attention to any lyrics that Roth ever sang. I never paid any attention to any lyrics that Sammy sang. So it's like if EVH is writing these tunes and they're coming up with Up for Breakfast or fucking Tattoo or whatever bullshit they're coming up with.
Well, that Tattoo's a David Lee Roth song, but
I know.
I get what you're saying. It doesn't matter who's singing. He's just rubber stamping it. Yes. Not even paying attention to it. I can relate to
I wonder how do you do that though? How do you go so far and then just say I don't care anymore about what happens with it?
Steve Harris has the same attitude. It doesn't matter what the words are. It's like bam 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 din down to bing bong going in land me mama mama. As long as you're hitting those beats,
and hitting the melody.
Yes, and Bruce Dickinson had these 17-page lyrics about the Korean War or whatever the fuck you want to talk about, and he was like, it doesn't fit. You can't fit 15 words into ba ma 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 ma. And Bruce is like, these are my lyrics, and that's why they broke up in the first place. I think Eddie was smart enough to know I'm not going to argue with Roth saying, I like the line of the stockings that runs down their legs. It's cool now. If I was Eddie Van Halen and Chris L was the singer and you came up with that shit, give me a break coming up. I'd be like, that's fucking terrible.
I won't go that far, but I'll also
my lyrics with that shit.
Let me give a little personal anecdote, then I'll answer the question. I'll move through it quick. Recently, one of our listeners asked me to send him the entire album I did with my old band in the 90s. Sent it to him. He was over the moon about a song that I didn't write, and he was asking me about what the lyrics meant. I go, you know what? I have no idea. I don't even know what half the words are in that song, and this is 25 years later. Yeah. I didn't really care, Right. And I was like, well, I'll ask him, and then I'll give you the answer, because I honestly did not know what half the words were, nor what they meant. So, answer your question, how I would approach it with Sammy Hagar, I would print out the first couple bars of lyrics to the Montrose song I Don't Want It, which are, well, I gave love a chance, and it shit back in my face. I would print those out. I would hand him the sheet of paper and say, can we do something like this on the next song, please?
That's a constructive way to do it.
You've done it before. Let's do it again.
You know what, Chris? That's the reason why, and being around the scene, one of the geniuses of Rick Rubin as a producer, and one of the detriments is Rick shows up and does fuck all. Yeah. Unless you need an attitude adjustment, and that's what Rick is great at.
Yeah.
Rick Van Halen would be awesome. Hey, Sammy. Hey, Dave. Listen to this. Yeah. Unchained or fucking, Atomic Punk or whatever the hell it is. Remember when you used to make sense with your lyrics? Listen to Montrose, like you just said.
Another great 70s band that we're invoking tonight on this episode.
And if anybody's listening that wants to read a good book, read the Ted Templeman autobiography.
Yeah.
He talks all about Van Halen and Montrose and Doobie Brothers. It's amazing. Yeah. It's a great book. The point being, sometimes you have to remember, hey man, stop being lazy. Right. And Sammy was not always lazy, but he's become super lazy. Mass Tequila, go fuck your ass.
Yeah.
Well, in that respect, Rick Rubin is like the Phil Jackson of music producers. He's managing egos. He's blending these massive egos together to create something great, and it has nothing to do with turning the fader. It's all about getting these guys on the same page. And,
if you look at Metallica now, so they did the Death Magnetic record where Rubin was like, what would you do if this was your first album and you were playing a Battle of the Bands? That got James and Lars back into let's write some fucking... And the engineer was a guy called Greg Feidelman. When it was done, I'm not going to get into, he said, she said, although I know the whole story. I'll tell you offline, boys. They basically said, why are we paying Ruben all this money when Greg Feidelman was the guy that did everything? Now that we're back in our mind space, get rid of the high pollutant producer that does nothing, and let's get the guy that actually pushes the buttons and moves the knobs.
Yeah, but that's an engineer.
But then you get other bands like Red Hot Chili Peppers that will never do a record without Rick Rubin.
Right.
He's their guy. Yeah. And there's other guys like Slipknot, Corey Taylor. I'll never work with that fucking asshole again. So I guess it's just
it's
how do you jive, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Nick, do you have something to add? Or you?
No, I was because we were talking about David Lee Roth also having some ridiculous lyrics. He always came off as more he was playing a character though. So yes. I think it's more excusable, I guess, just if he would say something outlandish because he is playing this outlandish kind of character. With Sammy Hagar, he had that, but he was a little bit more of he wasn't as big of a personality as David Lee Roth was putting out there. So I think that has something to do with it. It's the whole persona as well. It's
a great thing in reading that Templeman autobiography, and if you're a Van Halen fan, I suggest you read it. I endorse it. When Templeman first got involved with VH, which is 77, go see this band at the Troubadour. He said the band was great, but he hated the singer. Singer couldn't sing. Talking about Roth, sucked, whatever. After he spent time with him for a year going over these lyrics and these ideas, he's like, this guy is a genius. And Templeman wanted to originally replace Roth in 1977 with who?
Sammy Hagar.
The singer of the band he had previously produced, Montreux.
Yeah, I remember
he wanted to bring the reason why he started getting on Roth's team was like, as a singer, he's kind of generic, but he's got this style that no one else has. But as a lyricist, and as a character, he's off the fucking charts. To where he's the only guy to think for the
that's the X factor. That's why, and just the legitimate hatred amongst those guys brought out such energy in them that you just can't equal it with a different recipe. You can't do it.
The creative heat between them for sure.
Question 3: Who is your who is your example of an aging rocker who is doing it gracefully and with integrity?
Paul McCartney and the Stones. They still have a great... Paul is smart and Mick is smart, and Keith too, obviously. They have a great backing band of younger guys.
Yeah.
Ozzy too. When Ozzy goes out with Zakk Wylde, we don't want to see Ozzy with Gus G. We don't want to see Ozzy with Jerry Cantrell. Ozzy with Zakk Wylde makes him relevant still. If you surround yourself with younger players and delegate the responsibility, that's what makes you graceful and with integrity. Paul McCartney is a perfect example of that. He's got an amazing 5-piece band playing every song from the Beatles and Wings, and it's all self-incorporated. He can, God willing, do it till he's 80, making Keith too. That's what you want to see, guys that understand. If I can only go, then let's get 7 other people to go, All I got to do is go, Rod Stewart's the same. Rod's not a great singer anymore, but he's got a great fucking band around him that does all the heavy lifting, and he can be Rod Stewart, kick soccer balls in the crowd, look fucking hot for 75 years old, and just let us fucking appreciate this legend. Nick, what do you think?
I'm still thinking. I was... The people I was thinking of, I thought, maybe not.
Maybe not so
graceful. I'm still...
Who do you got?
Who's not doing it with integrity and gracefully?
Well, that's a strong way to put it.
Well, that's what you're telling us. You got.
Because I'm thinking from a vocal standpoint, where, I think Kiss still is, and they're doing that as well. Even though he doesn't have young guys, but they've got. For years now, they've had Eric Singer, and Paul's talked about it in his book. Eric Singer all of a sudden can hit these high notes. It's like, okay, Paul can take a break during the songs now. So it's, I think, a similar philosophy. I would
let me just say this, Nick, quickly, and continue on when I'm finished.
Oh, sure.
Since when did fucking singing perfect live matter?
Yeah.
I mean, when I'll tell you when it mattered. When every motherfucker had a phone. Going, I remember going to Van Halen in 1984, and Roth didn't even know. And I remember seeing Billy Idol in '85, literally singing on his back with a mic. Rebel yell.
Right.
And what everyone was doing.
And people were applauding this? Did it go over? It went over. Okay.
Because it's live rock and roll. Billy Idol, the punk star, is so fucking wasted he can't even stand up. That's rock and roll. If you want it real, listen to the album. I find that rock and roll has really suffered from suddenly now you have to be perfect every night. That's never, ever, ever been the point of rock and roll, is to be perfect every night. Ever.
I agree with that.
No, you pretty much nailed it. Did you answer the question?
I haven't really thought of anybody yet. I mean, I could think of some, but they're not really rock stars. And like you've got like your Elton Johns and stuff like that, where they still are putting on the show, doing what they do, and still doing it well. But they're not. I wouldn't say, even though Elton John's rock and roll, but I'm thinking like more, almost like an AC/DC kind of a thing, where you've got the live energy going on.
Bingo.
And then that, with age, is going to be super hard to maintain.
Yeah.
And people fucking complaining that Axl Rose was in AC/DC. I'm like, are you guys fucking stupid? This would be like if Paul McCartney joined the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
I thought that was a cool thing, and I would have loved to have seen it.
I saw it twice, and it was brilliant.
Yeah, I would have loved
Axl
to
was
see
great,
that.
and you know what he did? You know what he did when he wasn't singing his parts? He went back to the amplifiers like every AC/DC singer ever. He knew his place. It was Angus' show at that point, and people were bitching about it. Eddie Trunk, fuck off, man. Yeah. What are you complaining about? Like I said,
I don't understand that at all.
Paul McCartney's the bass player of the Stones. Well, that's bullshit. Shut your fucking ass and watch these guys create this magic.
Yeah, just try to enjoy it. Try that. My answer is, going to be a little bit of a homer here, but by all accounts, Bob Seger's last tour was outstanding. I mean, he had a crack new band with him. His set list was off the chart. I think he played like 2.5 hours a night. Every song you could want was on that set list,
except for Fire Lake.
Well, yeah, right. and just he was in good voice, good spirits. A lot of people could just say, well, he doesn't have a new album out, or even if he did, nobody's going to buy it. This is that's another thing people say. This is a money grab, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you're damn right it is. Why not?
Well,
and people are lining up, gladly handing over the money to get their money's worth, and they're getting it from guys like Seger and McCartney. But people will find something to bitch about anything.
Yeah.
I went to Seeger last year, or it might have been 50 years ago. Back in the day when we used to have live shows, Nick. It was very recent. I think it was 2019. I saw Bob Seger. And I made a pact to myself about 4 years ago that I'm going to go see every aging rock star. Elton, Billy. I've seen Paul 15 times. I've seen the Stones, but I'm going to keep going. And so when Bob came to town, and dude, this guy showed up looking like you're fucking like kind of clued out grandfather. Where he's wearing like a shitty black shirt, really bad fitting Wranglers, and a giant headband, and fucking super thick glasses.
But
just put those old records on. Fuck. And then suddenly he's just, dude, that was such a great show, and he had a great lineup. And usually you can see like a Waddy Wattel or something in the background. He had nobody. It was a bunch of old school brothers, and they were old, but you had not heard of any of them. And the band was great. And at one point, Bob even just sits down. He pulls his chair up and like, on a warm summer's evening, like he's fucking sitting down on stage. But you know what? I went and bought the T-shirt. I fucking loved it. The only problem I had is he did not play Fire Lake, which is one of my favorites. And I'm like, only Bob Seger could have 75 hits. Where
And you still
can't even
want
play all the
something,
hits,
yeah.
right? He was great, brilliant, much respect. I have my Bob Seger shirt at my house that I've never worn since, but I paid the $50 to put in his pocket and fucking
wear it. And also, you want to talk about great 70s live albums? Live Bullet's got to be in the top 3, if not at the top. Incredible stuff. Man.
Really? I have to check
I
it
love
out.
that shit of like Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band.
Oh, yeah, man. That's
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band.
Yeah.
Like, his band means something.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's my pick.
One last question, Andy.
Oh, okay.
And then Chris has to go with his wife.
And then to answer just real quick, Andy had asked me who was I thinking of that maybe is not doing it gracefully. I was thinking maybe Aerosmith. I don't know that. I don't know that it's coming off as graceful.
I'll do one after.
Okay. Oh yeah. No. Sure.
What do the guys think? Aerosmith, graceful, not graceful?
We're not doing it gracefully.
I'm getting that.
Well,
I'm getting that vibe that it's maybe not.
That whole Joey Kramer thing, I would say that's
part
not
of it.
graceful.
That's
That's
That
part
being
of
Why?
it. The
Why would you do that?
The terrible mustaches that they're growing.
Yeah. That's
Why are they doing
The
that?
Johnny Depp mustache,
Yeah,
the
well,
pirate mustaches.
It's Snoopy's brother that lives in the desert. It looks just like
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Nick, that's like my mustache? Like, what's wrong with you, man?
yeah, just like that.
Snoopy's brother.
I look
That's a
like
great
fucking
one.
old Hetfield right now.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Here's one that's not doing gracefully, and God bless them, and I'm not a hater. Dude, Motley Crue is going to do a stadium tour, and Vince lost plus 7 pounds.
Right.
If I was Vince, I would go to a dietitian, a fucking liposuction. I'd go to a fucking psychiatrist, and I would show up with abs, with no shirt. Go fuck your ass, everyone that hates me. 2 months before the tour, I see a cameo from him where his face is fatter than the screen.
Yeah.
Like
Your first call, if you're Vince Neil, your first call, if you're Vince Neil, is to Hugh Jackman, and you say, "How did you do it? Who did you work with? Give me all of those names, and I'm doing it. This is my last fucking shot." You know. However, you got to reprogram your mind.
There's a guy in LA. He's called Mr. Steroid.
Yeah.
And I could name 5 names for you right now that know Mr. Steroid that you would go, oh, I get it. We got to say it off the air.
Well, but
If I'm Vince, I'm calling Mr. Steroid and going, can you please help me?
who doesn't think that goes on in Hollywood? The fucking fat ass who was on The Office is suddenly, shredded up for the Chris Pratt. Is that his name?
Oh, and
Chris
Parks
Pratt?
and Parks and
Yeah.
Rec.
Parks and
Oh,
Recreation.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
What a fat fuck.
Kevin
these
from The
aren't
Office.
these aren't sports. There's no regulations or penalties against using performance enhancing drugs.
I'm going to text you a name after the show is done. But my point is, dude, if that was me and if I had lost my way and I'm Mr. Rock and Roll and I'm still fucking snorting cocaine off hookers' cocks or whatever the fuck. This is a stadium tour. And this is what I said to Slash and Duff before they got back together with Guns N' Roses. I get it. You hate each other, whatever. But here's the thing. If you ever possibly maybe have the option to maybe sometime get back together, you are the 0.11% of musicians. And all of us are musicians. You've played in a band. You've played in a band. You've played in a band. I play in a band. None of us have ever had the option to play in a stadium.
Right.
And there's millions of us. And out of those millions, there's a top 0.001%, and Guns N' Roses can play in a stadium.
Yep.
So don't tell me you will never do it again, because I don't care about the money. As a person, as a player, we get to fucking conquer stadiums again. And it worked for GNR.
No, and talk about doing it gracefully. Those guys are on point.
Well, didn't they have the highest grossing tour in I don't know ever?
Yeah,
Or so.
that was a great show.
But the GNR, well, listen, Def Leppard has been touring. The Def Leppard is Def Leppard. They're tight every fucking year.
Yeah.
Total pros.
The Motley Crue, we're going to come in like, okay, we're going to You're going to go on. Hold on. You're going to go on after Def Leppard? Really? All right, motherfuckers. And your singers, fucking 350, soaking wet, holding a brick. Go fuck your ass. And take it seriously or don't do it.
Right. And so my answer would be, and this is the obvious one, Ted Nugent is just not. And it has nothing to do with what he brings on stage with the material and the guitar playing, not talking about the in-between song banter, but the nonsense off stage is it's a complete joke.
Not
it's
graceful?
It's tough for me to say because, again, another Detroit icon, and I love his guitar playing in a lot of his songs.
There's more barf emoji coming at us.
Nobody is aging less gracefully than Terrible Ted. So.
And here's my thing. You had long hair for 60 years, and then you cut it. Like, dude, come on. Fucking just go with it, man. You're Ted Nugent.
I haven't even seen him with it cut, I don't think. Well, I guess it's somewhat, yeah, sure.
You guys know what we should do next time? We should do a Damn Yankee song. That fucking band is badass.
Cool.
What a band.
I know what song I would pick, so.
I have one I like from them,
Don't
too.
say anything. Hey, Chris L., it's not your turn next week, man.
I'm just saying.
Or maybe I'm not allowed to. Maybe I can't show up next week because I have shit to do.
Oh.
Even though we've been talking, I suggested we do another show at 1.9. We're at 2.11.
Whoops.
Yeah, we should have. We should have. We could have squeezed the quick one in.
No, it would have been a quick one. It's been a fucking long
Full one.
of 2 hours, 11 minutes. An hour and 9 minutes we were finished with this bullshit.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
said fucking no bone movies at 109, and here we are an hour later.
We are. All right. Do you want one more question? Last question?
One more question.
All right.
And I got
Lightning round. Lightning round.
Lightning
please.
fast. So this is from the same guy. Don LaRue sent another Yardo question. Sorry, Don. Your other two questions are out. Don LaRue. Same guy. He sent another question. So here we go. Explain the transition of the general public's musical taste from the late 80s to the early 90s. Why do you think music fans seemingly dropped their quote-unquote hair metal for either alternative/grunge or young country? Who were the transitional bands?
It's easy. Want me to start or what?
Yeah.
I'll tell you the reason why from my category, because I was in the era, the age group, and Chris was as well. When I look back at Nirvana in 91, 92, they were everything that I was. Angry, sloppy, aggro, cool. But I never got into them at the time because I was such a fucking heavy metal. Mm-hmm. Heavy metal is the law. Mm-hmm. Iron Maiden, Halloween, Saxon, Judas Priest, Scorpions, all that sort of stuff. So when Nirvana came in, I was furious. When I listen back to it now, Nirvana was just the next step. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about what was the secret to why it changed, I'll tell you why. Because it became sterile. It became stock. Suddenly it wasn't about – go back to the mid-'80s, which we were talking about UFO, when it was Dio, Iron Maiden, Scorpions, Ozzy, Motley Crue, and then we bump it up to 86. Well, suddenly look at Crue is coming in there, and then you got Warrant, and there's Poison, and then Metallica comes, and Anthrax, and Slayer, and Megadeth, and they make all those bands feel obsolete, and then Guns N' Roses comes and makes Metallica and Slayer feel obsolete, and then we had this late thing with Shotgun Messiah and Bane and fucking Slave Raider and fucking Bullet Boys, and it's just like, dude, we were super heavy, then we got super dirty with Guns N' Roses, and now we're going back to this other shit. And if you don't believe me, Google Bullet Boys and see when they came out. And that's where it made it. This is just stock, and it's lame, and suddenly some fucking dudes wearing sweaters and greasy hair, and they're angry and they're pissed off. That's why grunge / New Age Black Sabbath, which is what grunge is. So am I wrong about that, Chris and Nick?
If you in the context of like Soundgarden and Alice in Chains, absolutely, yeah,
and Nirvana too.
And
it's
Nirvana,
fucking Black Sabbath, man.
Well, Nirvana, I would say, was more of a same kind of story
you're right.
that you had when the Ramones came out.
But
It's-
and Nirvana also had a Beatles element to them, heavy Beatles.
Well, yeah.
I Want You, She Said
Well, yeah,
the Heavy
there's-
Revolution. Yes,
There's a pop element to both, in both of those cases. And I think that, I mean, I'd heard that about the Ramones, that they were kind of a counter to a lot of the big swollen arena rock, the big super polished records. And then I think that's what happened with Nirvana also. And I think it's a natural progression that every once in a while somebody comes along who, I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but sort of dumbs it down or takes it back to basics.
Well, yes, people were ready for the change, and I've said this many times on this show, and I'm not the first one to say it. Nevermind is one of the most spit-shined, polished corporate rock records of all time.
Bingo.
So let's not muddy those waters, so to speak.
But it was not sold that way.
No, but sonically, and who it ended up appealing to. At the
Well,
end of
it's
the day,
big. That's a fucking high class producer.
right. And at the end of the day, you know what? People are going to listen to what the big machine wants them to listen to. They're going to shove it down your throats until the masses get on board with it and they create a sensation.
Well, and to that point, I remember being like 11 years old, big MTV, guy, watched it all the time. One morning before school, it was the VJ's telling you this. This is what's happening right now. Like, this is a premiere. This is the band you're going to be hearing. And right when it was coming out too. And I remember Smells Like Teen Spirit came on, and I remember not getting it. I mean, granted, I was young, but I knew a lot of what was being played on MTV, kind of hip to it. And I remember not getting it. And I still don't get that particular song, but I get the idea of it, where it's a rebellion, and that's basically what it was sold as, from what I remember.
I remember. I just did a show with the Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour, which is Warrant, Trickster, and Firehouse, which in 1991 was the hot ticket tour, because Warrant was the next big thing, and fucking Trickster had a gold record. And they told the story. It wasn't Janie, but it was Eric, the guitar player, Eric
Turner.
Turner, thank you. And he said, literally, me and Janie went to Sony Records in, August of '89, and there was a giant Warrant poster, and it's fucking Dog Eat Dog, and we're going all the way. A '91 Dog Eat Dog, we're going all the way. And they came back in December of 1992, 4 months later, and suddenly there was a Nirvana poster, and it's like, what happened to our poster? Like, well, we got to talk to you guys about something.
That sounds like a story I remember hearing, where it was the early 60s, I think 64, 65, and Nat King Cole called up Capitol Records building, and they said, welcome to Capitol Records, the home of the Beatles, and he was like taken aback by that, because he basically built it.
Yeah. And Nat King who?
Yeah.
Never heard of you, buddy. And that's the fucking weirdness of the record world back in the day.
That's it. Well, thank you to Chris Jericho for joining us. Thank you to Don LaRue for your, what's 4? I don't know. It's not a yard.
You guys
your
sure you
quad
don't
of
want
questions.
to do another show? I have nothing else to do and nowhere to go.
We'll do another show if you pay for my divorce attorney. How's that?
Hey, brother, fucking let's get it. We'll get 2 for 1. Trust me. Thank you guys so much. Think about it. Great time. Awesome to hang with you.
Yes, thank you again.
Next time, is it my choice or whose choice is it?
It'll be yours next time you're on.
Yeah.
The only issue I had with this show tonight was we did not have a video. The video is always a great story.
Well, maybe think of one for next time with a video.
I had 5 in my head.
Okay.
I had 5.
All right. Whenever you're ready.
Did you guys have to go walk the dog or whatever it is? I guess I can't even say anything. So.
All right. Well,
Guys,
whenever you're ready.
I want to say to you, you guys are great, and I have one message for you.
Oh,
What the hell did he do?
He turned it off.
That was his message to us?
We're all unsanctimonious of him.
That was lowbrow. Low class.